Welcome back, guys, to another Steam Deck video. I'm Blaze2K, and in this video we're going to be talking about the 12 things every single Steam Deck or new Steam Deck owner should do or try or consider when they first get their Steam Deck. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. I'm Blaze2K. Please like, subscribe, click the bell icon if you want more Steam Deck content on your YouTube homepage every single day, because we post multiple times a day. And also check our link in the video description down below and the top comment of this video for my favorite Steam Deck accessories. Let's get into it. So guys, this article comes courtesy of Kotaku. 12 things every new Steam Deck owner should try or consider. And we're going to take a look at them and see what we think of them and what I think of them. Alright, so whether you're a PC gaming veteran or new to the world of Steam, here are some common tweaks, settings, and options you'll want to be aware of on your deck. Now, there's a lot of options, guys. There's a lot of things you can do with your deck, a lot of things you can customize. There's the Decky plugin, which just takes the Steam Deck to another level with themes, little overlays, additions of like game ratings, how long to complete, plugin integration where it tells you for each game when you go onto the game page how long it will take to complete it. There's like so much with the Decky Loader plugin, and we're going to cover that in the future videos, but we're going to go over the basics today for what you should do once you get your Steam Deck, right? So as one of the most powerful gaming handheld devices out there, the Steam Deck is great. It's one of a kind gaming platform. While some games might require you to fiddle around with graphical settings to get the best performance out of them, the experience of playing a game on the deck is often frictionless, and that's been my experience, to be honest, with the Steam Deck. Like, I've not really had an issue with the Steam Deck with a game that's really annoyed me, that's kind of made the game unplayable. Most games are frictionless, as you'd expect. People make out as if you have to constantly tinker with the Steam Deck to get the games working fine. You really don't. Most games just adapt to the hardware that you're using in the first place anyway, so games run pretty well out of the box. If you want to tinker, you have that option, but yeah, I've been fine in most games that I've played, even on Windows on the Steam Deck, you know, because I dual boot my Steam Deck. Anyways, that said, there are many ways to get more out of Valve's mini PC that aren't immediately obvious. Here are some tweaks and some other tips to consider when setting up your Steam Deck. You don't need to be a power user to make the most of these settings and features. Some, like the screenshot shortcut. Oh, I didn't even know this. The screenshot shortcut, Steam and R1 are pretty handy. Damn, that's pretty cool. While others, like the lock screen settings, are essential to configure if you want to stay on top of who has access to your device. So this is interesting because I've had a Steam Deck since basically it came out. And some of these things, even I either forgot about or didn't know it had. Anyways, turn on your lock screen. Oh, this is good if you live in a house with multiple people that have a tendency to maybe pick up your Steam Deck and see what you're playing. Alright, as with many portable devices, you probably want to have some kind of lock screen to keep unwanted users out your deck. Hit the Steam button, navigate to settings, and under security, you'll find options for the lock screen. You'll set up a number-based pin, which you can use the deck's gamepad buttons to enter. It becomes really quick to get in once you memorize it. The most secure option to make sure all three security options most secure option is to make sure all three security options and security are switched on, but you'll have a choice as to whether you want your deck to prompt a password screen whenever you power on the device, when you switch to desktop mode, or when the login screen appears. I don't do this. Now, I live in a house with two very small toddlers and my wife, and my wife also has her own Steam Deck, so I don't really have to worry about people getting in, playing my games on my Steam Deck, because, I mean, who's going to do that, right? I mean, my wife's got her Steam Deck. My kids don't even know how to use the Steam Deck, so I'm not too worried about a lock screen. Honestly, this just adds friction to playing playing your Steam Deck. You know, you don't want to be picking up your Steam Deck and be like, oh, beep, 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 every time you after you put it to sleep, because sometimes I put it to sleep for like a minute or seconds, right? And then I pick it back up. I don't want to have to be putting the pin in. But let me know in the comments, is this something that you want to use in yours? As with many portable devices, you probably want to have some kind of lock screen. Yep. Cool. Test drive all your games in offline mode before a big trip. So yeah, this is a big deal. This is an important thing, okay? Basically, the offline mode for the Steam Deck is still a work in progress, I'd say. Some people are having more issues than others. Some people cannot play their games well in offline mode. But if you are going on a long road trip or something where you're not going to have access to internet all the time, you really do want to test drive all the games you're taking with you in offline mode before you go on that trip, because you don't want to download all your games and be like, all right, I'm good to go on your road trip, and then start trying to boot into your games in offline mode and realize they won't let you, right? So make sure you test drive all your games in offline mode. Really good. Check the OS updates and choose which OS channel you want. So basically, we've got stable, we've got preview, and we've got beta, okay? The stable mode is basically the most stable version of the software. If you switch the system update channel under the beta participation, you could switch to maybe the preview or the beta builds of the operating system. Now, you can switch back and forth. You can switch to beta and then back to stable if you want. It does require a restart, but this is pretty handy. If you want, if there's some new features, sometimes, well, a lot of the time, Valve pushes out updates all the time, you know, adding new features, bug fixes, you name it, to the Steam Deck, the Steam OS. And typically they're under the beta channel, all right, until they eventually get pushed up to the stable build. Now, I typically keep mine on beta or preview just because I like to be on the bleeding edge of new features and stuff like that. But you know, if you want to be unstable and want to make sure everything's as smooth and as bug-free as possible, definitely stable is a good one to be on. So yeah, it's under settings. You open up the system settings, go to system, go to beta participation, and the drop down should be there. They also say tame your notifications. So, annoyed by all those notifications about what games your friends are playing and when they're playing them? Easy. Head onto head onto the settings, Steam settings. Under notifications, you can either select the general, disable non-critical notification setting, or turn specific ones off with options for both the visual and audio indicator. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. So if you're sick of, if you have a lot of friends on Steam and you're sick of pop-ups telling you that friends are like joining a game or coming online, or if you're sick of like chat room notifications or direct chat messages, group events, etc., announcements, you can tinker with all this under the notifications tab under your system settings, which is kind of cool. You have a lot of fine control over what notifications you get, which is good, kind of like a smartphone. Switch to Nintendo button layout if you prefer switch style select and cancel buttons. So this is probably good for those of you that really prefer the Nintendo Switch layout, where the A and B are back to front. All right, I think A is on the right side, B is on the bottom for Nintendo, whereas on the Steam Deck, A is at the bottom, B is up at the top right. So that's an option. That makes it really handy, especially if you're playing certain Nintendo games, right, on your Steam Deck. Try out different on-screen keyboards. So depending on what version of the Steam Deck you got, I believe the more expensive one, the one with the 512 gigabytes of storage, comes with an extra keyboard theme, but you can try out different on-screen keyboards, which is pretty cool. I've not tried this one. I might have to try out this one. This one looks pretty cool. It reminds me of like an alien themed keyboard. I like it. So there you go, change on-screen keyboards. Under keyboard and settings, you'll find a few different keyboard themes. You can even get some more themes via Steam points, which you'll earn by buying games. If you're not connected to the internet, the deck will default to the base keyboard theme. All right, so use R1 plus Steam to take a screenshot plus other useful shortcuts. So if you do hold down those buttons, you will see a pop-up like this that tells you all the shortcuts you can use. So there we go, show keyboard, Steam and X, I already knew that one. Toggle magnifier, never tried that one. Steam and R1 take screenshot. It's funny, I've seen this Steam button shortcuts thing pop up on my Steam Deck so many times, but I've never really stopped and paid attention to what it says. Joystick, mouse, Steam and right click, the right thumbstick. Steam and right on the D-pad's enter. Steam and down is tab. Steam and left is escape. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The one that I didn't know about was Steam and R1 take screenshot. You know what I wish they would add is like screen recording. You know, if we're playing a game or game clipping, you know, if we're playing a game and we want to clip a specific part of it, it'd be kind of cool to record the gameplay, right? I mean, PlayStation 5 lets us do that. Xbox lets us do that. I think even, does Nintendo Switch let us do that? No, Nintendo Switch doesn't, but it'd be a cool feature nonetheless, right? Okay, get the most out of your home screen. Here it says the home screen on the Steam Deck might lack some much needed customization features, but aside from the main row of recently played titles, scroll down a bit and you'll get a quick summary of recent games and apps. Further down, you can get a sense of what games your friends are playing. Hit R1 twice on your home screen and you'll be taken to the recommended tab. Here you can launch the discovery queue, and if you're new to Steam, this is a great way to find games that might suit your taste. You can quickly wishlist or visit the store page of any game on there. Just below the discovery queue, however, you'll find a section called Play Next from your library. Your deck will highlight games you haven't yet played, lining up a queue of titles for games you already own. For some of us, that might be half our libraries, but it's still a nice way to have the deck suggest something new that you already own. And further down on the home screen, you'll see a selection of games that you wishlisted and you're currently on sale. So if you're looking to save some cash on a game that you caught your eye previously, this is a good place to check often. So there we go. It tells you all the games on your wish list that you've added to your wish list that may or may not be on sale. Check your installed games and sort your library into collections so you can create your own collections. Okay, so if you want to fine-tune your collection of games, because let's be honest, a lot of us have a lot of Steam games. I have like hundreds of Steam games, so this is something I could actually take advantage of, creating little libraries like Final Fantasy games. I could put, like the Batman games in one library collection. I could put all the Lego games in one collection, just to make things a little bit more organized. So it's nice that they've added that. And if you notice, on each tile, it actually shows you all the games that are inside that collection, which is really cool. Really smart how they do that. It's interesting. That's cool. So learn to use the performance overlay to your advantage. So here's another thing that you want to do as well. If you're a little bit of a tech geek like me, you can turn on the performance overlay by pressing the button with the 3 dots on the right side. So the quick access menu pops up, going down to the battery icon, and then basically turning on your performance overlay. Now you've got 4 different options. You could switch between number 1, which basically just tells you the FPS top left, all the way to 4, which just gives you a suite of like different statistics, how much VRAM the game's using, how much RAM the game's using, CPU power, CPU temp, etc, right? If you're coming from the Steam Deck from a console background, good news, the deck will often just feel like using any console when it comes to launching and playing games. However, the deck truly is a PC in console form factor, which can mean some road bumps when it comes to playing older. Okay, so basically, performance overlay. Definitely have a tinker with that, see what you like, especially if games that are very performant, very intensive, right, that really tax the system. The benefit of the performance overlay is that you could tinker with the graphics settings on the game end and see how it impacts your performance, all right, using the performance overlay, and you could find that good balance if you want to tinker. But like I said before earlier in the video, you don't really need to tinker too much with the Steam Deck. Usually games adapt to the Steam Deck's hardware pretty easily. Learn how to dial in the right graphics settings for the best performance. So you can obviously also set frame rate limits during, in games. So if you're worried about screen tearing and all that sort of stuff, you can actually change the frame rate limit under the performance tab. So that's pretty good, and you can use per game profile, so you can basically lock in an FPS limit per game, which is pretty smart. Check if there's a per game performance profile, adjust other quick settings. You can do a lot of cool stuff in here. Check your notifications, etc. on the quick access panel. You can also check how much time your battery life has left. So under the battery tab in your quick access setting, scroll down to the very bottom and it'll tell you your battery capacity. It'll tell you how long till it's empty, tells you its discharging rate, which is pretty cool. And there we go. That is Kotaku's list of tips and tricks that every new Steam Deck owner should try or consider. Let me know in the comments if there's any that you want to recommend, because I'm curious at taking a look at them. A pretty handy list. One thing I'm not too keen on is obviously the lock screen. It's not something I think I would use myself, just because I want to get into the Steam Deck immediately. I don't want to have to go through putting in a PIN code. And maybe different if it had like a fingerprint reader right at the top of the Steam Deck or something, but this is not for me. But let me know in the comments if it is for you. All right, so anyways guys, thank you for watching. I am the Blaze2K. We post Steam Deck content on this YouTube channel every single day, multiple times a day, like today. Okay, this is video number 1, and yeah, to be notified, subscribe, click the bell icon, and if you're feeling extra generous, click the like on this one and click the like on every video. Also check our list of favorite Steam Deck accessories down below in the top comment of this video and in the video description of this video, because I basically collated all my favorite Steam Deck accessories, things you might want to buy for your Steam Deck, and I'm always adding stuff to that list. All right, so basically go check it out. I'm going to put a link as well to it. It's going to be blaze2k.com/Steam Deck. It should take you to that list. All right, so anyways guys, take care. I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Speaking out.